Aloha. This is April 7th, 2016, and today I really want to share with you a dream I had the other night and the resultant insights I've had about it that I feel are relevant to the Osiris Arising Project and everyone who feels connected and resonant with the work that I do. I dreamed that someone handed me a large bag of crystals. I say handed them, they were so large I couldn't have even lifted them. They were sort of brought to me and put on the floor. I didn't see who brought them. And I was told to open it up, and look in there. And they said that this was a bag of crystals I'd forgotten about, like it was mine, but, not something I was currently aware of. So I opened the bag, and there were a whole lot of beautiful crystals in there that I didn't remember having or having seen before at all. But one of them was almost just floated into my hand, and it was huge. It was, I say huge, it was, well, it certainly filled my little hand. And the shape, it was a clear crystal, not entirely clear, but clear like crystal, clear white, because the center of it, it's almost formed, it was a natural shape, but it almost formed like a cone pyramid in the center. Not dramatically, but there was a slope to it. And so when you looked inside, you looked down upon the center, the view became less transparent, and it was more of a thicker white in there. And in fact, I was trying to find some kind of crystal that looked like this. Now, this is not really the shape at all, but you notice how the inner part is sort of opaque and yet bright. It's really bright, but you can't see through it. Well, this is an Andara crystal, by the way, crystal glass, because technically Andaras are not crystal, but at least not the ones that I've seen so far. But this was more or less the way the quality of it was, but not the shape. Now, I chose to look at Andaras because I asked, what is this crystal? And it said it was an Andara, but not from this world. In other words, the Andara that has been seated on the planet so far has been brought down to a level of our experience. But this one that she was showing me was far more otherworldly. I still now know that it is on this planet, but it is not of the same quality as the others. It's far more intensified, let's say, with the Andarian energy. And we're going to discuss that a little bit more about Andara and all of that. I don't want to get into too much detail because there's so much about it, and I have written it, so there will be links. But I wanted you to see the more or less quality that I was seeing in the dream. Now, as to the shape of it, I told you that it sort of went up at the top, so you could look down into it. It was more of a narrow lens-like quality to see that whiteness in there. And it was literally in rings of it. Like the clear and a ring of the white and the clear and a ring of the white as it moved down deeper into the inside of the crystal, or the Andara. Now the sides came out kind of like little tabs or wings. By wings, I don't mean actual, very chiseled wings, but it was like two little sides came out. Or you could even say, like seeing one of these spaceships, now that I'm thinking about it, as I'm saying this now, it kind of looked like a UFO, a spaceship that has the conical top and bottom, and then the sides go out. And if you were looking at it from the side, it would seem like two sort of little wing or appendages coming out. Now, I was looking at it from the top, and it was not circular like a disc. The appendages were more lozenge shape, But if you held this object and you looked at it straight on, not from looking down on it, but straight on, it would look kind of like a UFO. So that's the best I can describe it, and it was so unusual I just wanted to take some time to describe it. So I asked what it was. I was told it was an Andara of a higher elementation. but they said it was, they named it, they called it the star dove. I keep saying they because I feel it was a grouping of beings, but at the same time I feel there was one that was prominent, which takes me back, I think, 2 or 3 nights before that, because I was not asleep, but I had an experience where I saw a woman, and she seemed to be administering to me. As you know, I have health problems, and I had been asking to receive healing energy and whatever, that I could that night. And that's when I saw this woman, and she gave me the name of Miri Lee, and it was spelled, I saw it spelled out, Miri, and then the second part of the name was L, it was a different name, like Miri Lee, and the last part was Li, so it was Miri, and then Li, Miri Lee. And she was, she had blue or light colored eyes, but she had dark hair, and she had sort of mid-tone skin, but her eyes were somewhat oriental in the slanting. And so, not extremely, but there was a slight look about, an oriental look about her nonetheless. Well, after I had the experience with the star dove, crystal, Andara, whatever, I realized that Miri Lee was the prominent person that was showing me this crystal. Now, I know that there's a personal element to this because I was asking for healing and all of that, but I'm sharing this with you because I've since been shown that there is a global energy involved as well. And they were saying, well, you can tap into it, Maya, if you wish for your own, interaction with this crystal, with this energy. And Miri Lee was helping me to do that. So I'd like to share with you a little bit how this unfolded for me. Today I was looking up Andara crystals so that I could find a crystal that resembled that, or tried to. And one thing led to another. I had this feeling of clicking on this particular picture of Mongolia, and I went there, and then I started feeling that energy that I feel when I'm on the trail. I often refer to Google as the divine Google, and I'm not just making a funny, because when I start Googling for spiritual reasons, I'm on the track of unfolding something that's been presented to me, but not entirely, and I need to get a little more information, or I want to relate it to some, relative information. Not always, but very, very often, I get this feeling that I am channeling. The same feeling that I get when I'm opening to Thoth and hearing, experiencing, not hearing, but experiencing what he's sharing with me, or the streaming of Thoth, if you want to be more precise, is sharing with me. It's that same feeling. I get into Google, and there are times, often, when I'm on that trail, that I get that feeling. And when I do, I know that it's leading me. It's like the Ouija board or something. It's leading me in, and I have to follow my instinct. Oh, click on that. Well, it's not related. No, click on it. And I do. And then I see. And it moves me from one thing to another. So when I got into Mongolia, and it really didn't relate to the particular picture that I opened, but it was Mongolian. One Mongolian thing led to another Mongolian thing. I was shown very decisively that the star dove Andara is buried in Mongolia, in the Mongolian desert, in the Gobi Desert. The Gobi Desert. I'm assuming the Gobi, I saw a desert, so let's not say Gobi quite yet, but it's in a desert of Mongolia. But so what is this crystal, and how does it relate to all of us, to the planet, to the Osiris Arising Project? That's the next question opening up here. But actually first, before we get into that, I need to talk a little bit about Andara crystal glass in general and my history with it. It's a long topic, and I'm certainly not going to go into it all, but you can find the whole story. This is practically a mini booklet, excuse me, that I put on. I put that on the Crystalline Matrix website. I kind of put it all together, and on the page links at the top of the Crystalline Matrix, you can find the topic. Oops, wrong one. Where did we go here? It's going to be here. Here we are. Here's the Crystalline Matrix, my blog. And you see at the top, it says Prima Matra Andara crystals, and here's the whole story there. So that's where you can find it. But in brief, in around 1993 or something like that, when Simeon, my former husband, and I were living in Crestone, Colorado, we were contacted by a woman who knew another woman who had these strange, mysterious crystalline formations that they found on their land. Well, the woman that found these formations on her land was Lady Nellie. I've forgotten what her real last name is, but she's known as the Major Andara woman. She's since passed away because she was actually rather elderly at the time. So that's how we got in touch with Lady Nellie. This woman was contacting me saying that Lady Nellie was looking for someone that had some Akashic insight, some channel information on what these things were. This was right after she'd found these huge boulders of this crystalline glass stuff on her land. And so I went into it for Carla, the lady that contacted me, and I was the one that received the original information on the Andara, including the name Andara. And it's a long story, but in short, these beings, and I believe they are from, well, I better find out. Let me look at my page. Okay, I'm going to read this little bit here from Thoth. Andara is the name we have chosen to identify the Prima Matra crystals coming off of the California land owned by Nellie Thompson. They were all calling them crystals then, and but Thoth qualifies that these crystals, the original ones, are composed of primarily Prima Matra heated to very high temperatures. We have related to you in past transmissions that the first matter powder coming from this land was created by an interdimensional implosion. The land was originally seeded for Prima Matra by those we call Time Walkers, in conjunction with high devas mythologically depicted as unicorns. When the implosion occurred, the seed material was heated not only to very high levels, but in a contained hyperfield, which is created by two or more dimensions touching. Goes into what that is. I'll just skip that. So And here is something I wrote on the Tampanangu. This is relating to the star crystal, the start of crystal. We're getting back to that, but this is the path we need to take. This was written rather recently, last year, when I received this skull that I just showed you. Although the Tampanangu skulls are not dwellers, they are a major part of the dweller or Osirim matrix. Now, the Tampanangu skulls are not, the one I have is just a host for it, but they're actual crystal skulls of the Tampanangu that are kept in a cave in Tibet. It is encoded with, this particular skull that I have is encoded with the Tampanangu, which protects the dwellers on and within the planet. Holos, that's the name of the skull that I just showed you, that's mine, is an old Mongolian skull which is overlaid by the Tampanangu and become a projector to guardian the main dweller hosting matrix in my home here on Kauai. And I have a feeling it may be working on higher levels as well. The Zatarni are an ancient tribe living deep in the cavern areas within the Himalayan mountains. They don't just guardian the Tampanangu. They are a people, a community of holy ones, who once were part of a culture on the surface of the earth. They are one of the many tribes from all over the world who were driven underground during the Nephelimic Wars and also the time tsunami, the period of the time tsunami, when Atlantis finally succumbed to the sea. So there's a list here of different groups, like the Hokamai, who are keepers of the crystal skulls within the inner earth, the order of Tau. It's difficult to give this order a name. It is many through time. Lakshmi was the first from Mu and Atlantis. It was carried on by the same name. Egypt, it changed to the Kafta, and on through time again with other names, yet the purpose was the same, to oversee and decide when the dweller skulls of the surface earth were to be moved and where they would go, and to prepare the thresholding chambers for them. This would include the cavern areas to the surface relative to deep interior caverns. Thoth is calling this order in its complete timeline, which is still ongoing, Tau. He is indicating to me that the order is far more than the keepership of the surface dweller crystal skulls. But this is indeed a major duty for them. Okay, so we're going to skip a bunch of stuff here that I have that relates to Tau, tons of it. We'll just go down here, and this is Chariot of the Sun's Thoth Academy here, the seal for the Academy of On when he was in Egypt. This is the seal, and it's a Tau bar, with something on top. I was hoping to find that about the inner cavern more. Okay, I guess that's it. So, I'm seeing that the order of Tau is part of the process of what the Andarians are doing with this star dove crystal. And they are overseeing the whole energy exchange. The Andarians can only do so much. They need help from those who have been here a long time and have access to the codes, the light codes, and the frequencies of the earth, which the Andarians do not. And so, as a result, the Tau order, if we can call it that, are working to establish this frequency through the star dove crystal. Now, I'm also being shown, a lot of this I'm getting right now as I'm speaking with you here on the video. I'm being shown that what I held in my hand was a dream factor of the actual one, which is much, much larger. I don't know exactly how much larger, but, something like maybe the size of a medium-sized house, something like that. Obviously, it's buried rather deeply. And, when we say buried, it's not like, they got out there with their psychedelic super shovels and buried it. These things can be transported in pixels, so to speak, and placed inside the earth, just like some of the pyramids are built and all of this. So no problem in taking something like that, turning it into a light form, bringing it inside a cavern area or a place prepared under the sand dunes, and poof, there it is. When they put it up, it's really, for them, quite simple. So it is large. A house, a trailer, I don't know, but it's big. It's bigger than what was sitting in the palm of my hand, but it is that shape. And I'm also being shown that what I held in my hand is a holographic projection from it. So anyone could do that. Anyone could ask to receive that crystal in the palm of their hand. They wouldn't actually physically get one, I don't think. I didn't. But they would receive it vibrationally and for healing purposes. And when I say healing, anything that's working with the planet to raise the vibrational frequency and working with the DNA to balance it and raise the vibrational frequency is healing, no matter the ultimate goal of that particular object or energy process. Now, Miri Lee, the woman I saw, she is a mixture of star beingness and Mongolian lineage. In fact, most of the Mongolians have a lot of star blood in them. She was very tall and thin. She had rather a teardrop face. Her eyes weren't excessively large, but they were normal sized, and yet she had this beautiful sloping quality to them. And they were bigger than Oriental looking eyes. They were more kind of, E.T. looking, but not scary. They weren't that big and, scary to us, They were slanted and but more wrapping around the side of the face just a little bit. Very hard to describe because it wasn't typical ET eyes. It wasn't typical Oriental eyes. I'm trying to get there in describing them, but I just can't quite find the words. I'm taking time with trying to describe her because I'd like those of you who feel so guided to tap into her frequency and the people that her race, her tribe, that is part of this order of Tau. I don't think only one race or tribe is. They're probably all related to, the Mongolian, Himalayan, Chinese lineage in there, but there are different factors of them. And she told me or showed me that her people had lived in Mongolia in ancient times. I feel her outreaching here through me and saying, inviting people to contact her if they wish to open the path of contact between her tribe, possibly the whole of the Tau, I believe so, and the star dove crystal, which has now been placed here on this planet. And those of you who are really into Andarian crystals, or might like to be, holding your crystal, your Andarian crystal in the left hand, and holding the etheric star dove pure Andarian in the right hand is going to help specifically update your Andarian crystals. There's a overall purpose of updating going on the planet, but you're receiving those frequencies directly through your DNA frequency, and it's moving from the star dove in the right hand to your Andarian in the left. All right, I'm seeing the name of her tribe listed right here, the Zartani, Z-T-A-R-N-I, and they are apparently the Tau guardians. Yes, they are. I was wondering if there were others that are in the Tau other than the Zartani, but apparently not. I said there might have been others there, but no, it's just them. Now the Hokamai are, doing something else, but the order of the Tau is apparently consecutively this Zartani ancient tribe. I'm being asked to create a special medallion for the star dove frequency and this whole movement that is happening. I will do that, and when this video is for portal members, so I will also place the medallion in there. It's not in this video because I haven't created it yet, but I'll place it alongside so you can access and download the medallion and any instruction that goes along with it. So I believe I'm going to conclude for today. Thank you all for listening, and I hope that there was some resonance here for you. And those who work with Andarians, I encourage you to add it to your protocol. And those who might want to work with it, well, I certainly encourage you as well. So, aloha to all of you. Until next time.